Hail, viewers. Tonight, I have been playing Elden Ring. And personally, I got bored of the game. I had played it a lot during its release, and I won the game. It was very difficult, of course. But after a time, I just became extremely bored. I believe I won it once. And then I just played it off and on for a long while. And when the DLC came out, I had not played it at the time. And it has basically been, how long has it been since the DLC, The Shadow of the Erdtree, came out? I know it's been a very long time. Is there music playing in the background? Because that should be on, actually. Let me check. Yes, it is. Let me see what volume it is. 35, okay. But basically, I've been holding off on playing the DLC. And I did use Sheet Engine. I got the weapons and stuff. Basically so I could test them out and see some of the new stuff that was added to the game. And it made the experience of playing more fun to me. I like the claw weapons. But I have been making new, I suppose what you would call builds that are interesting, because I like to play with style, and I usually like to make it difficult, but at the same time I want to be stylish. I do not like to play with the HUD on at all. So you see no health gauges, you see no stamina gauges. Those who have watched my channel, you already know how I play Elden Ring. I do not want any type of information on the screen. I just play the games for the beauty. And not necessarily every game for beauty, but when I play Elden Ring, I want to see how pretty it is. I don't want any gauges, any health gauges, red and blue bars. I don't want any of those on the screen. I just want to see the character moving, doing things. I want to see whatever good looking outfits I've modded into the game. I want to see it all. I don't want anything clouding up the screen at all. And so, it's a weird way to play. It's very difficult because basically you can't see anything. If my character gets hit, that's it. My character gets hit a few times, I don't know how much health they have. They are basically when I play like this, I'm playing blind. My character looks stylish. I have a really good mods for appearance, but other than that, and a few options that I select on Sheet Engine, it is very difficult. I like the idea of being overpowered while at the same time being susceptible to enemy damage, like a glass cannon. In other words, if I don't play it right, if I don't make, if I do stupid things, I like the fact that I can lose really fast. And that is going to happen quite a few times with this particular character. Now, for this aesthetic, I decided to use the sort of weapons of the Horned Warrior and the armor set because they match so good. The color scheme is really great. I got a modded variation of this armor that looks really good on the character. They even did the horns well, and of course, I believe unmodded it's like a helmet or something, but with this mod on, my character literally has horns, which is very nice. But this was very difficult. I forgot how many times I lost, but it was just fun using the claws. the beast claws were very fun to use. Now remember, in Bloodborne, they had a similar weapon, and I think they even called them beast claws actually. In Suf, I'm gonna drink something. One moment. I have to keep myself hydrated during these videos because oftentimes I don't bring water, or in this case I'm drinking pine tea. But yes, Bloodborne was very fun to play because of just how dynamic the combat was, and that is what I want to capture during my Elden Ring playthroughs, and that's very hard to do. As you know, can see, I don't really like thinking about gauges and other things too much during play, and I also want the play to be very reactive. And Elden Ring as a game was a little bit slower. It was a little bit slower than Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3. And so I had to adapt. I decided that I wanted my character to have a sense of the same capabilities as any enemy. In other words, when you're fighting enemies in, Elden Ring, the enemies have unlimited stamina. They have also unlimited FP. In other words, they can cast as many spells as they want, use as many weapon skills, and you're just one person. You have a Crimson Flask and other resources at your disposal, but for the most part, you have limited resources, your enemies have unlimited resources. And I think that's kind of unfair. I didn't necessarily like that. And so I said, actually, I'm just going to get rid of the stamina and the FP. And in other words, I'll be able to fight without those conditions, okay? Just like enemies. In other words, my character is essentially on equal footing to the enemies, and everything's very fast. Now, I remember it seemed as though in Bloodborne, stamina recovered really fast. I don't think you really even needed those particular, items that people use so much in Dark Souls. And in this case, in Elden Ring, you have the green turtle talisman or something like that. I think you have, apparently you eat turtle. You eat green turtle necks or something to recover stamina. But it was just, to me, it's really unintuitive. I don't like it because the gameplay is just not as fast, and the enemies are very fast. As you can see, although I have essentially equal statistical footing with an enemy. And also, I will tell you another thing about the way I play. I very slowly upgrade my weapons during the playthrough. And if I create a new playthrough, I even downscale those weapons. In other words, if I have to get new ones with Sheet Engine or something and just remake my character for a new game plus playthrough to make it harder, I will do that. Any way to keep the difficulty consistent while at the same time giving my character the capability to essentially look really cool and basically do things that the enemies can do. In other words, the enemies have no stamina. They don't have to worry about stamina. The only way stamina really plays into your enemies is if they're carrying a shield. So if they're carrying a shield, once their stamina runs out, you break their guard or something like that. Okay? You break their guard. And that's the only time stamina plays a part. As far as FP, they can cast as many spells at you as they want. Both minor characters, minor enemies, and bosses. It's just really difficult for you as the player. I don't really like PvP very much. I don't even like co-op. I play by myself. These days I just do solo play. So it's easy to get bored in Elden Ring if you're just playing a vanilla experience by yourself, because basically the way the game is made is just either you're using spirit summons, or you're getting some help from some people, or you're just doing a challenge run where you're just sort of depriving yourself of resources, while at the same time your skills are so good you're able to do things that people can only dream of, where they're thinking, wow, how'd you do that? But that's a very boring way to play. I mean, you have people who don't roll, you have people who don't dodge, and win the game. That's amazing, but that's not necessarily fun. Okay? I mean, it's impressive, but it's not necessarily fun. I mean, even as I'm losing now, even though it may be frustrating, I already know that I don't have to worry about stamina or FP. And to me, that's a fun way to play. So, I think those restraints are, they helped these From Software games to an extent, but at the same time, when I mod it and play it by myself, I don't like those. If it's co-op, if it's PvP, I understand, but for me, when I play these games, or at least Elden Ring, because I never really modded the gameplay experience for games like Dark Souls, or, of course you couldn't mod Bloodborne, that was on PS4, but the good thing about Bloodborne was that it was fast. And so, for me, the whole goal that I had, sort of later on as I was playing Elden Ring, I said I have to make this fast. I have to make it, I wanted to make it dynamic. So, just like the Horned Warrior, they have the wind techniques of the lions. So I copied that idea. The claws are really, you get to fight like a beast. So, this is just one character. I have so many different characters, and of course, I base everything around outfit choice. Everything has to look stylish and good looking. But it also has to feel good. This weapon is probably the most fun weapon to play with in Elden Ring. I also like the Lady's Greatsword. And I'll probably have some videos of that too, at some point. That was one thing the DLC did really good. I looked on YouTube to see what people were saying about the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, and it seems as though people have some very negative opinions about it. However, I haven't got to it yet in the game, so I could have a bad opinion about it too later on. But right now, just playing with the weapons, the Lady's Greatsword, as well as the Beast Claws, to me it seems quite fun. I'm having a lot of fun with how fast the weapon is, how rapid it is. It's also very risky, because your character, when they're swiping with the claws like that, it's very easy to knock them off balance. Excuse me, I'm gonna blow my nose really quick, viewers. But my goodness, I really love this weapon. There are a few other new weapons, new types of weapon choices that I probably will like as well, but I haven't tried them. I've sort of kept my focus on the Beast Claw weapons and the Lady's Greatsword. Right, with these were things that I think Elden Ring needed. I think this sort of completes a lot of what I think the game experience lacked. And in much the same way, Bloodborne had that too, where you had the DLC weapons, and there were new DLC weapons like the Beast Cutter, and a few other ones too. There were a few, and I think the Beast Scythe. Okay, it was all very, very fun, because a lot of those weapons could do things far better than the original weapon, and it is kind of unfair, but at the same time, when you play through the game again with those new weapons like the Beast Claws, of course this is my first sort of playthrough after the DLC came out, so I haven't really played through the whole game with these weapons. However, I like it, and it is a similar experience to what I felt when the Bloodborne DLC, the Old Hunters DLC, had come out. And I remember I really loved the Beast Cutter. I mean, for some reason, a lot of people did not like that weapon. But for me, the Beast Cutter was just far better than the Threaded Cane. I mean, some people say the Threaded Cane is better, maybe in terms of stats to a degree, but I don't think so. I mean, it's a matter of opinion. But right now, I have to say, these dogs gave me a lot of trouble. The dogs always give me a lot of trouble. From Software has always had terrible dogs, and I wouldn't say terrible as in it's a bad gameplay design, but the dogs are rough. The dogs will kill your character over and over again. The dogs are ruthless. The dogs are just absolutely terrible. I mean, fighting these dogs, oh my goodness. I mean, it was fun using the Beast Claws to fight them, but my goodness. I mean, they've always, I don't even think they have these in Night Rain, do they? Do they have the dogs in Night Rain? If I have Night Rain, and I've only played a little bit into it, because I decided to stop playing Night Rain until I finish oh goodness, I'm thinking about Bloodborne, the Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. People have told me that the DLC is really hard, and considering how I play, it could even be harder. I have no idea. But right now, I don't know, I'm feeling pretty good, optimistic about how fun the experience will be. I don't know, I mean, I got the outfit, the Horned Warrior outfit from Sheet Engine, so I haven't seen the Horned Warriors. I've never fought the Horned Warriors. I have not gotten to any area of the DLC. So there's a lot of things I'm very excited about, but I want to, since this is a new character, I want to just play through the game with this new character and get to the DLC in an honest fashion. In other words, when I started the game again, I didn't have any save data, so I had no choice. And I'm glad I made this choice to sort of start fresh, because I got to experiment with all of the new weapons and different things. I mean, not all of them, but a lot of them. So, I don't know. I mean, I think I'm more enthusiastic to play the game than I was maybe a month ago. I've been holding off on Elden Ring for a long time because I got so bored of it. I can't even tell you. Let me explain it this way. For those of you who have played Elden Ring, you already know how it's not necessarily a game that it's very engaging. in terms of there's new characters to talk to, there's a fairly good number of NPCs suitable for the scale of the game, because there simply isn't. I mean, let me put it this way. When I compare it to Bloodborne was the perfect size. It had a very, considering how small it was, it had a very good amount of NPCs to talk to, quests and different things. With Elden Ring, it's not much to do, so you have to make your own fun. And some of you have probably heard that about games like Skyrim, Fallout 4. Okay, I mean, it's a lot of you would probably never think that FromSoft would make a game like that, but I mean, that's how Elden Ring is now for me. Unless I mod it, and unless I make my own fun, and unless, in terms of story and narrative, the narrative is symbolic. In other words, you're going to look around, and you're going to learn more from looking around than you will even reading at this point, which is kind of a change from earlier games, because you didn't have this much space. I mean, really, there's not that much to see in game. There's a lot of open space, but at the same time, there are things you can look at that can sort of show you the state of the world. I mean, just like for this area, Caelid, with the red sky and the blooms and other things like that. It looks very good with those younger Erdtree type trees in the background that have the glowing leaves. They look very good and contrasting with this red sky. But excuse me. This is probably my probably the most fun I've had. One moment, viewers. I'm gonna go and come back. One moment. Alright, I had to clear my throat. But, yes. This, if you want this outfit and other outfits, you're gonna go to Nexus Mods. Alright? This is where you're gonna go. If you want to mod your game, come here. If you have this game on PC, it's very fun. It's on sale now. If you're like me, you'll get a repack for free. Go to I think repackgames.com. I didn't have to pay anything for this. I mean, if you know how you can even play with other people online with a repack version, you just have to know people. And you can play with hacks and mods and all types of crazy stuff, and you don't have to worry about FromSoft banning you. There's a program where you can do that. So, but I think the guy I went to get the armor mods, let me see. His name is DL something. DL71 something, whatever his name is. But yes, this is the guy, he does very good armors. I think he probably does the best armor for females on this website. I really like his stuff. It's very, very good. This wasn't the only character that I had sort of made like this. I made a few. I have one that sort of... The idea is for the character to use primeval sorceries. For this one. I haven't thought of different names for the characters. For now, I've just been using the mirror to change the character appearance, and I think my character name is Marion or something like that. Not that name matters in this game, but I mean, even with all this magic, I still lost a few times. I mean, finally, I get to put the Founding Rain of Stars to use. A lot of people say that's a bad sorcery. It's Founding Rain of Stars is not that good. But it can be good because the enemies... I mean, I'll put it this way. I have another mod that increases cast speed, and that really helps me. Because oftentimes, cast speed is a big problem in this game. It's just it takes so long to cast your incantations and your sorceries. And you just take forever to just even... unless you get your dexterity to 70, it's ridiculous. Not to mention, I'm also using the talisman that increases how much damage you take, while at the same time, you get to cast your sorcery at the fastest speed. But as you can see, the enemies, they really react to Founding Rain of Stars. They hate it. They move away, and that allows you the opportunity to hit them with another spell. So, just like regarding the last character, this character has unlimited FP, unlimited stamina. It's all about basically not doing anything stupid, but at the same time, I did not win against the Tree Sentinel, as you will probably see later on in this fight that basically I'm doing. Now, the dagger does allow me to quick step, and that's really nice. I use the crystal dagger, or whatever whatever the name of this weapon is, for fashion. That works really well. I mean, if I were fighting up close or getting just a little closer, you'll see how fast my character dies. Which, I don't know. I mean, playing like this was just really fun. In the game, I never really used primeval sorceries that much. They cost a ton of FP. And some of them they're not really worth using. You would rather use another one because by the time you even use one, usually you're out of FP. Right now, none of my weapons have been upgraded. I'm keeping them very low, basically to increase the difficulty. That quick step is really fun for if you're using a magic character. It's really fun. I think with this one, I didn't have any incantations to heal with, so I just have the flask of crimson tears. The dagger is still pretty good. The dagger is, I can still go in close. The strong attack is also very good. When I play, I don't like to change weapons very often, just for aesthetic purposes. To me, it looks really dumb when I have to change weapons over and over again. I kind of like a certain degree of realism. I like the combat to look really good. Now, this combat that I did was mainly to test out just how well these primeval sorceries work against enemies that were essentially stronger than my character. I may have unlimited FP, but the way I set things up makes my character very much a glass cannon. Alright? For sure. I mean, this one... I mean, those homing stars were not as good as I thought they would be. For one thing, this primeval sorcery that homes in and casts the stars like that, it's not as good as it looks. Let me put it that way. Excuse me, it's not nearly as good as it looks. Because it doesn't go very far, and it looks like it would go very far, but it doth not. So you're using it, and it's sometimes it will not hit the enemy. It look of quite awkward. It really does. As far as this one, this particular, the comet type, I believe it's called Cometazor, with the little comet tail, that is kind of like a Kamehameha, so to speak, in the Dragon Ball Z style. Let me put it this way, unless you're on even ground, it's basically useless. And I'm not saying that it's bad, because of course people win the whole game, fighting bosses with it, but oftentimes it costs so much FP that you'll be using it only a handful of times. You're not going to be using that often. But I was surprised how often I was using the Founding Rain of Stars. When you increase that cast speed, Founding Rain of Stars becomes something you want to use constantly, because when the enemy is coming to your distance, they just get hit. I remember there was also, I take a break from this one and look at the other one again, because there was a few situations here when I was playing as my sort of beast, my horned warrior type character, and I was just losing over and over again. I don't know if I got to some crows. Oh, the crows are terrible. The crows are worse than the dogs. But I mean, with these other enemies, it was pretty easy for the most part. When I got to the crows, I started to lose over and over and over again. That's a bit later in this video. But I mean, the regular dogs, they can be annoying. The rot hounds, they can be annoying, but I mean, they're nowhere near as annoying as the giant dogs. Personally, I thought the smaller dogs in Elden Ring were a bit lackluster in comparison to the dogs we faced in Bloodborne and in Dark Souls. For those of you who did not play those games, yeah, the dogs have always been a thing in these games ever since Demon Souls. I mean, it's sort of a big meme at this point, and Miyazaki and the people who make these games are just really, they make dogs terribly strong, and they're just one of the most frustrating enemies in the game. I've always thought that these enemies are kind of, I suppose they're not too annoying, but they have a very, their design is very creepy. They do move fast though. That's for certain. But considering how I can move like a beast with with this character, I like it. When I don't have stamina, I can sort of, and that was the funny thing. when I removed the stamina limit, one thing that I noticed was that the game seemed as though, not to mention the fact also, I played less cautiously, and I think that was one of the things about Bloodborne. Your stamina it really didn't feel like a big problem in Bloodborne. It either recovered a lot faster or you had a lot more of it or something. But I think it was both. But stamina wasn't a big problem in Bloodborne. You always seemed to have a bunch of it. Whereas in Elden Ring, I always felt as though the boss is moving fast and is basically beating the lights out of my character. As you can see, I lost there. But it was very... So, I mean, I was talking trash about the small dogs, and I mean, as you can see, I still got... My character still got killed by a small dog. That's sort of ironic, isn't it? But the thing about it is, when you take the health bars away, when you have no HUD, and your HUD is sort of your display screen for all your gauges and your bars, when you have no health bar and no FP bar and other things like that, what it causes is that you can't see status effects. So if they're inflicting you with rot or poison, it's difficult to see, not to mention the fact that, and I don't think that, did the dog inflict rot upon the character? I don't even know. Because everything's so red and I have this reshade. For those of you who do not know, reshade basically makes the colors in your game pop. Okay, it's post-processing. It's a small program that basically makes the game look very good. But oh my goodness. Yeah, I think based the whole of the rest of this video is just me losing. Although I have to say, this is a very fun character idea to play with. I mean, Beast Claws, Horned Warrior set, you can't take too many hits, you take more damage, very difficult to do. I had to limit myself to the Beast Claws, and although they're very fun to play with, they do have some problems. They're a little hard to control. I mean, you're going fast when you're using them. I feel like I'm playing Bloodborne all over again, and that was really fun. But, oh my goodness. The dogs, the crows, oh goodness, they did some work on me, for certain. I mean, luckily I won that battle, but, I mean, when I got to the crows, oh my goodness. And that's another thing, a thing that I do when I play this way. And of course I had to heal off those times because at this point I'm in a situation where if I don't make sure my health bar is full, I don't really know how much I have. So if I don't heal, at some point, my character's just gonna die, and there's no reason to do it, to go through with fighting big enemies like crows. The crows are, I tell you, Miyazaki really wanted to send us a message with this crow, with this particular crow type enemy. They're terrible. They look horrible. They're absolutely terrible. A crow with teeth. I struggle against those things. Either I mod the game, I don't mod the game. I struggle against crows. Crows are difficult. And let me tell you something most people don't do. Most people are not playing this game and just fighting off the enemies. People talk about the bosses. Okay, the crow is, in some cases, the crow is harder than some of the bosses in this game. I'm not joking, I'm not lying. Fight some of these crows. Just back to back. See how hard the crows are. You just try to fight fairly. Try to fight fairly. See how hard these crows are. I have mods on my game. I'm playing fair. I'm not upgrading my weapons too high. I got to choose which weapons and spells I wanted to use. The crows are tough. The crows, they peck the hell off me. I mean, they're rough. Oh my goodness. And fighting multiple ones, that's even worse. One thing that I notice people don't do often, and I certainly know not effectively, is just fight every enemy they come across in the game. And I try to let them fight first, let them get the aggro. Not to mention playing that way makes me feel less guilty. But about, killing the enemy. I mean, I know it's fictional, but that's just how I am. But when you fight the regular enemies, just fighting the regular enemies, it's difficult. People talk about the PvP, but I don't know. I mean, to me, PvP is looking pretty easy, and I remember my experiences with PvP. The last time I did PvP in co-op in the FromSoft game was when I was playing Dark Souls 3. After that, it was over. I stopped doing it. I stopped doing PvP, co-op, anything in the Dark Souls game. I think mainly I stopped doing PvP in Dark Souls games because the connection was so bad. Another reason why is because I stopped buying them. I mean, I bought Elden Ring. I bought all 3 Dark Souls games. And I started getting repacks when I got repacks for Elden Ring and Elden Ring Night Rain, because I had bought Elden Ring for PS4. That was the first time I won the game. The first time I played the game was on PS4. Later on, I switched to PC, but I said, I don't want to pay for this game again. So I got a repack. I got a repack version. Okay, I got a pirate version. It works just as good, if not... I mean, it certainly works better than the PlayStation version. So if you have a good enough PC to play a game like this, it certainly is worth it. As far as I know, and of course I have Night Rain too, but Night Rain, as far as I know, they lack certain weapons and spells from the DLC. So, contrary to what some people may say, there is a reason to play Elden Ring, even with Night Rain as a game. I mean, even though that's out and it has new features, there's still a reason to play this game. There's still a reason to play Elden Ring, and there's so many different things you can do with it. For me, I know when I play Night Rain, when I win the DLC, then I'm going to use Sheet Engine and mods and tailor the experience to my liking. Night Rain seems like a really fun game. One thing I do not like that they have done is that they changed the behavior of the bosses. So I got the version 1 repack version because I said, I want the game to be hard. I don't want them to make the game... In other words, they patched Elden Ring Night Rain. Night Rain was patched to make the bosses give you an easier experience on the solo playthrough, and I think I want to do that. I'm going to be using Sheet Engine anyway to increase my difficulty. I don't want the bosses to do me any favors. Even with mods, I'm still losing. And this is Elden Ring. Okay? This crow is messing my character up. You see what I'm doing. I'm moving all types of ways, hitting the crow. I'm using the tornado spell. The crow has something personal against me. These crows, oh my goodness, these crows in Elden Ring. The people at FromSoft had to know. They had to know how frustrating these crows were. They had to know. They were not joking with these crows. They're vicious. They're vicious. Goodness. I mean, can you imagine how spiteful it is to make a bird with teeth? I mean, it already has a big beak, but putting teeth on it. That's nasty work. That's sadistic. Goodness Lord. But basically, I fought this crow over and over again. I just lost. I kept losing. I could not win against this crow. And it started to make me feel, I mean, it's fun to play this way, but at the same time, with these weapons, with the mods and so forth, but this crow even gave me a little stress. Okay, and I'm usually, able to sort of just have enough fun to where I'm not stressed, but the crow. As you can see, I'm at this point, I'm just making amateur mistakes. The crow's just wiping me out. The crow is, wow, it's that crow's blessed. I mean, that crow is not going to lose. And so, I have to say, the new weapons, new spells that the DLC brought the base game of Elden Ring. I mean at that point I wanted to change weapons. I said, maybe I'll try the Horn Greatsword. That's still keeping with the roleplay, right? But no, the crow saw me. I mean, it's weird that you sort of resurrected that stake. You respawned at that stake of America, and you're right next to the crow, so the crow can beat you again. I mean, it's almost like that was intentionally done, but nonetheless, oh my goodness, yeah, the crow was wiping the character out. The crow was just, I mean, I think I look cool, and I think I'm pretty cool with the way I play the character, but the crow is the coolest. The crow is, it doesn't matter how cool I look, the crow is doing better than me. And as you can see, I'm able to fight enemies with this lower upgraded weapon. The weapon is not upgraded. Later on in the game, I may upgrade to 1, then 2, then 3. I'm taking it very slowly to keep the difficulty consistent. And right now, the difficulty is fairly consistent. I like that. I keep giving you a view of the character so you can see how good this outfit looks. And I think I may be doing that during the end of this video. Very good looking outfit. The fishnet tight upper part looks really good. It's just a very good looking outfit. There's always heels with the KS Solo body, but they look, I mean, they're just great to me. Yeah, that was played through in its entirety. Now for the sorceress, yes, I did lose. It may seem like I'm really overpowered at this point, and you would be right, but as I said, I'm also a glass cannon. So if I'm feeling too good about myself, when I get to the bosses, that's when I start to lose hard. That spell is, oh my goodness, it was really, I was using it over and over again. I was using Rain of Stars over and over again. I mean, when you have a faster, unless you've played the game, unless you've got the spell, you don't realize how bad it is in the game. If it costs too much FP. It's not something you would use. It's not worth the cost. But when you have unlimited resources, just like the enemies do, it's fair because the enemies also have unlimited resources. And I guess with a sorceress type character that's this good, maybe you stand a better chance. But nonetheless, when you take out the stamina and FP costs, Founding Rain of Stars is a lifesaver, and it was one I kept coming back to because it was doing a lot of damage to these enemies. Now, when I got to this enemy, when I got to the Tree Sentinel, things start to change. My streak of good luck, or the strategies I employed that I thought were really good, they all sort of shattered. There's a tree. Basically, as this character, I cannot use any type of other damage. I can only use primeval sorcery. So that's only magic damage. That's the whole game, the whole DLC, playthrough of magic damage. I can't use any other type of damage. Now I get stuck in that tree. That was scary. At first I think I'm doing really good. I think, yeah, he's walking right into the rain of stars, or she, because I think these characters are basically technically, in a narrative sense, female, but nonetheless, I was, oh yeah, that was it. It just took one hit. It just took one. As with all magic type characters, if you get hit, especially as a glass cannon, you don't have much HP. That's it. That's it for you. And that's how this character plays. I mean, pretty good. As you can see, sort of the outfit. This is a great. I really like that outfit, but I mean, if she gets hit once, that's it. So it's fun. To be a glass cannon, to be a glass knight, so to speak, or wizard, or whatever. But I mean, I like the knife because you have quick step. It's very fun. I'll put it that way. As you can see, the outfit, very good looking outfit. I recommend you try that guy's mods. He makes very good looking mods for female characters. I like my character to look unique. I like my character to have an appearance that looks different than just the NPC characters. I don't like my character to be an NPC. These outfits really make female characters look really good, for sure. Often in the modding community, there's a lot of emphasis put upon the female characters. For certain. But it fits the crystal aesthetic. It fits the whole idea of crystal sorcery, primeval sorcery. It just works very well. Very fun, good looking aesthetic. What I'm about to show next is a bit more risque. If you thought these outfits were a bit skimpy, yeah, I've outdone you. I'm outdone myself, or the guy who makes these has outdone himself. But I am the one putting these on my character, so I mean, I'm not much better. I'm a man of culture, so to speak. A man of culture, okay. None of these are defensible. It's not about that. It's about looking good, or sexy or whatever. But I like things that match. So for me, it's not that I technically go out of my way to get the skimpiest armor. You can't even call it armor. The skimpiest outfits in the game. I mean, this isn't in the game, but it's modded into it. But it's not that I go out of my way to get the skimpiest outfits. Some of you may think, oh, you just get the skimpiest outfits you can. But some of them match the weapons and the staffs and other things really well, and they fit the aesthetic really well. If I'm playing as a necromancer type character that's using ghost flame sorceries, I don't know. I didn't find too much in the game that looked really good. I mean, this looks extreme. Everything about it looks extreme. And it is, but it was the best I could find for what I was doing. And you may say what you want. I'm that type of gamer. Okay. But anyhow, the idea behind this one, on this character, is to use Ghost Flame and I think it's called the Helfin's Helfen Steeple is the sword name. Basically, it's a sword that you can just sort of make glow with ghost flame. You can also substitute torches with it. If you're in dark areas in the game, the sword can actually light your path. It's really cool. It's really interesting. Like that. Now, a thing I did with the modifications, with the param modifications, is that every time I put fire on the sword will heal the character. So that's an interesting way to heal the character. It does not heal the character that much, but it's enough that my character can survive, take a few hits. I mean, if I get hit multiple it's not something that heals amazing amounts of damage and really protects the character, but at the same time it allows me to sort of fight with this character to a degree without having to use Estus. I mean, a flask of Crimson Tears, because for some reason making a necromancer that's using miracle, I'm still calling them miracles in Dark Souls, healing incantations, and a flask of Crimson Tears, that seems, I mean, you're a necromancer, you really want to heal that way? So I had to make a new feature in the game. I had to modify it so that when I use Helfen Steeple, when I use the weapon skill will heal the character. That's very intuitive. Some of you have probably noticed that I saved the really skimpy character for last. Just to sort of ease the viewers into it, because I said this character is skimpy. This outfit is a bit much for some people. I know. Don't think I don't know. I think my battery, I kind of had some glitching problems. Not necessarily some glitching problems, but some lag problems. It looks really cool. The whole using ancient Rancor, that ghost flame sorcery, it looks really good. I'm using the Prince of Death staff that you get from Godwin's. I think it's connected to Godwin in terms of lore. I forget how you get it, but it really does work for this role play, because it's a bit darker, and I might as well call them role plays, because basically it is a role play. But this character is a bit risky because the sorcery is slow. If you use Ancient Rancor, it's a bit slower. I mean, it's gonna hit like a truck, but you have to wait for it to do it. And since I have that extra cast speed, I can cast a lot of them, but, you know, the sword is kind of what I use to heal and attack at close range. That's going to be much faster at close range most of the time. But as you can see, I'm going to have some difficulty in some cases. I mean, as you can see, it seems I'm doing really good for now, but that's going to change. This weapon is often not used by many people. A lot of people think it's underwhelming. Most people use the Dark Moon Greatsword, and that's because it has a cool weapon skill, but the Dark Moon Greatsword does not look as cool, in my opinion. So, not to mention, if you want to play as a Ghost Flame character, if you want to be, you know, do the Necromancer type playthrough, you sort of have to do things a bit differently. Because to me, Dark Moon Greatsword, that's more of a carrion type of thing. That's related to them, and that doesn't work for my roleplay. So Health in Steeple's really good because it has a lot of magic damage. And I think that's about balanced with physical damage, actually. But it looks really cool. And it's Ghost Flame. So obviously I'm going to use it. And I don't know what I was doing. I mean, I'm just riding my horse and just, but Elden Ring has always had a problem with pop-in. Pop-in textures. In other words, everything pops in. But for me, it's not too big of a problem. It's just a FromSoft game thing. I mean, most people, unless you're using mods to change your field of vision or something, you're gonna get it. I started to sort of lag later on in this video, but my goodness, this was very fun to play. As. Now the dogs gave me some trouble. Now the sword does heal the character, but only a little bit. You have to use the weapon skill for the weapon for Health in Steeple. I have to use that a lot for me to heal substantially. So I started to have some problems with healing the character. For certain. Once again, very fun, but there are difficulties playing this way. Even when you're playing with mods, you're doing a no-HUD playthrough, the difficulty in it, and some of you may be thinking, how can you have difficulty doing this? You have all the FP you want to have. The problem lies in the fact that I can't see my health gauge. Sure, I don't have to worry about stamina and FP, but I can't see, Death Blight, Rot, Poison. I can't see any of those unless I'm looking at the character. And when you're playing in environments that look like this, and I tried out this particular spell, I didn't really like it that much. And it doesn't really fit with the aesthetic. That's a DLC spell. I still think that Ghost Flame, Ancient Rancor Call, and Ghost Flame Explosion is... I prefer those, and they fit the aesthetic of the character. Because there are so many different types of sorceries and incantations in Elden Ring. There's a lot of magic. That's what made this game so fun. It's just very enjoyable because of that. Excuse me. But there are certainly some things that, when I look back on them, I kind of think, I don't know, maybe if I had started playing this way, was about a year ago, I probably wouldn't have had such a long hiatus of me playing Elden Ring. I stopped playing for a long time, but yes, as I was saying, because I forgot what I was talking about, this whole color scheme of the Ghost Flame, it really fits well. But since you have so many different magic choices, you can kind of stylize. I like that. And since I don't have to, all the more so because I don't have to worry about FP. I can just play, I mean, I don't like, this one seems cool, and I like it, but I don't know. I mean, the blue Ghost Flame, it's pretty nice, but I still, personally, I like the green Ghost Flame. The blue Ghost Flame also works pretty well, not to mention the fact that when you're using Ancient Rancor Call, you get the feathers, the black feathers too. That looks really cool. It just looks really awesome when all of the different types of skulls, spirit type projectiles, just cluster in on an enemy and then just attack them all at once. That looks pretty cool. It wasn't that difficult playing with this particular character. But at the same time, I mean, anything with really powerful sorceries like this, even with weapons that are not upgraded, still seems really overpowered. But I did have some problems when I started to take on everything at once, but that's the good thing about playing with mods, because basically you get to do things like try to take on all enemies at once, and you can diversify. Sure, you know, I could stay up there the whole time, but I like to sort of challenge myself by going into the crowd. Which may not be the smartest idea if you want to win. But since I'm playing mods anyway, I think, you know, I try to fight every enemy I come across, and I try to sort of use my resources in a very free-flowing way. I mean, it's just very fun. But the healing I get from the sword is not going to be very good. It's not as much as an Estus. I mean, it's a Crimson Flask. Oh, yeah, she died in one hit. I mean, yeah, she didn't really... I mean, this character, oh goodness. That was one hit from a dog. I'm thinking, how many hits did I take during that entire span of play? I can't say. But anyhow, viewers, I'm going to be working on some more, I guess you'd call them builds. It's kind of fun. Anyhow, oh yeah, I did try out Ghost Flame. I might as well see how that worked out. Actually, I might as well see how it worked out, because I tried a few different things. Some of the ideas were not so good. I'm going to show you this particular sorcery that a lot of you may know about. It's the one where you can summon a few guys with swords. And although it looks really nice, it's hard to apply. I mean, they just keep running after you. So they never stay still. They don't stay still for you to do it. And that was a big problem. I may go back and play the game and just decide to start using that anyway to see if I can sort of make it work a bit better. But if they're not standing still, you're kind of a goner. As you can see, it took one hit from his sword. That was all it took to of course beat my character. It makes sense. My character's literally dressed in a bikini. A bikini type thong or whatever. I mean, realistically, you wouldn't have to do much to take this character down. But anyhow, I decided to try out the Ghost Flame Explosion. That worked a bit better for me. And I do like this particular sorcery. This spell works really good. So I said it may take a little longer, but it works. So I tested that one out on a couple enemies. Of course, this one I just decided to use Ranker Call. Overall, the Ghost Flame spells are just, I mean, to me, they look... I always thought they were probably some of the coolest looking spells in the game. The effect where the fire is just on the ground when you use Ghost Flame Explosion, that was something I liked quite a lot. A lot of enemies step in it. It's all about style. It's all about how good it looks. Goodness, this environment, with Reshade, it seems even more red. Kayla seems even more red with Reshade. Okay, my battery started to, because this was a laptop gaming PC, and for some reason my battery, the cord that connects to it, I basically had not, it wasn't plugged in, and I was surprised I had to plug that back in. So my computer sort of slowed down because of course I was running out of power. Goodness, there's so many of those. That particular spell reminds me of the Dark Bead spell that was in Dark Souls. I think it was Dark Souls 1 and 2. I mean, it was really cool. I mean, I guess they replaced Dark with Ghost Flame, basically, and I think that's basically kind of the idea. Very interesting. Oh, it looks so cool. I mean, covering the whole ground with Ghost Flame. This heal, it was not doing me, it wasn't doing much. It wasn't doing me too many favors. But that's the challenge of it. The heal with the sword is pretty weak, and not to mention she takes like a whole lot of damage. Because of the talisman I have that increases spellcast speed, but at the same time, you take a lot of damage as a consequence. I think that really helps to balance a lot of what I do in the game. I tried to two-hand that was kind of a dumb idea. I think from now on, when I play this character, I'm certainly going to stay to one-handing it, because, I mean, two-handing it is just not, that's a bit stupid. Right now you can see I'm trying to get a bit of health back with the Ruinous Ghost Flame, because, as I said, my modded game allows me to regain health with Ruinous Ghost Flame. That's the weapon skill. But going into a mob with this character, it had mixed results. Mixed results for fighting with this character. It's so cool that Ghost Flame freezes. It causes frost damage. You know, it has the frost status build up. That's so cool to me. The dogs, as always, are just very difficult to deal with, but I think this is a good class. A good Ghost Flame class, you know, of character. Very fun. Lost anyway, but if I'm not losing, then the game isn't fun for me. So this is, yeah. I mean, this modded experience is working out well for me. I think I'm going to be able to get to the DLC without getting too bored. And that was a problem I had playing Elden Ring. I was just getting bored because I was just playing the same way. There's a lot of spells and weapons you don't use. It's, you know, that makes the game kind of boring. As you can see, showcasing the character again. If any of you are interested in character sliders, I can give you those. I will link the mod page for the person who makes these armors, these skimpy, risque armors, in the comment section. yes. I don't think Nexus Mods would be blocked, or would be considered problematic to link in the comment section. It shouldn't be. I mean, it's not really an adult website. It just has some modifications to the game that you might consider to be adult. Okay, I think this outfit is probably one of my... I think this is probably one of my favorite. I mean, it's really... It's simple alterations to it, but it looks really good with the claws. Anyhow, viewers, I think I'm gonna end the video here. I was planning to make a Final Fantasy VIII video. I'm gonna have to do more research. Honestly, I'm gonna have to do more research for the new Renoa is Artemisia video. I'm gonna be doing... I'm basically gonna be talking about Nojima as a writer, his decisions in Dissidia, and in his writing for the Dissidia games, hints that he leaves about Artemisia and Renoa, and how different he is from Yoshinori Kitase. We all kind of know Tetsuya Nomura is really big on the time travel stuff, but not too many people know about Nojima. Not too many people know about some of the interesting things that he did in Final Fantasy VIII. Anyhow, that's going to be fun. I hope that some of the risque armors did not traumatize, or rather, not armors. The risque clothes did not traumatize some people, if you can even call them clothes. I mean, it wasn't much to cover, but I mean, they didn't really cover that much. But I mean, I hope that didn't traumatize the viewers. Anyhow, I am very happy to be making Elden Ring content again. I took a long hiatus, a long break. I'm not going to be talking about lore until I complete the DLC. When I complete the DLC, then I think I'll be ready to say more about lore. For those of you who do not know, I have a whole forum dedicated to different story and narrative things having to do with Elden Ring, as well as symbolism in the game. So some of you may be interested in that. So I will be linking that in the comment section. But nonetheless, it's gonna take me a while to complete the DLC. After I complete that, I plan to do some research, make some lore videos. After I finish with Elden Ring, I plan to play Night Rain and talk about that lore. A lot of people, or at least those of you who have been here on the channel long enough, you probably know that I was always a big, always really liked Elden Ring, and I have made at least 10 videos about Elden Ring. So it must have come as a surprise to some people that I stopped doing Elden Ring videos, and hopefully that's about to change. I mean, I think I enjoy the game well enough to the point that I really want to play it again. Whereas before, it's just boring. But with mods, I mean, it wasn't boring as in the game. Let me admit it. I got bored of it. So there's no way to do a roundabout it. To basically say it in a roundabout way. I got really bored of it because I got bored of how slow it was. I got bored of how restrictive the combat was. You know, as long as I keep check on the health gauge, you know, I can win. Once I see that big health gauge, I don't feel like taking risks in the game. Taking away all of the interface, yeah, that makes it harder. That makes it difficult. That makes you, the player, take risks. So I have to say this was quite fun. Expect more Elden Ring videos. Anyhow, viewers, may you be blessed, and farewell. Okay.